In a recent interview with Toyota North America's new president, Terugawa, he expressed much concern with the current state of Lexus, stating that the product cadence is an issue, and not only that, the product itself and the powertrains is as well. When asked about Toyota, Ogawa expresses that the dealers are happy and has no worries about the Toyota lineup, since they will continue to have at least two new models every year in the foreseeable future. With the recent introduction of the all-new, all-hybrid 2021 Toyota Sienna and the return of the once extinct Toyota Venza, Toyota has been on a rampage the last 3 to 4 years, updating its product stack. All that is left really at this point is a modernization of Toyota's truck-based models. Toyota has updated over 10 of its models to the incredible TNGA platforms, and this rapid and much needed modernization of Toyota's lineup has left the crown jewel Lexus in the dust. And like I mentioned, Toyota has brought nearly a dozen of its models to meet the modern expectations of the current market, while Lexus only has 4 offerings that truly feel designed for today's demanding market. And in today's video, I'll be running through the entire Toyota and Lexus lineups and showing you guys how Toyota has left the premier luxury brand in the rearview mirror. Welcome back to the channel, Luxurious Fleet. If you're new here, my name's Kirk, and this channel covers Japanese auto news, though I do tend to spend most of my time in the Lexoda realm. So make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and a bell icon so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. First of all, what is TNGA and why is it such a big deal for the current and upcoming Toyota and Lexus models? In 2015, Toyota was building 100 different platform variants with over 800 unique engine configurations and tunings. Toyota had realized this expansion was having a large negative impact on the sustainability of the enormous automaker. Imagine McDonald's like having 800 different items on its menu. I mean, that's ridiculous. And I don't care how big and profitable you are as a company. I mean, stick to your basics or stick to your guns, really. Make sure you rediscover your strongest traits and go all in. And that's what Toyota has done with the TNGA, or the Toyota Next or New Global Architecture, dialing the options and configurations back a little bit, and that has cut costs by over 20%. And as much as I like to cover everything, TNGA based today, it is definitely outside the scope of this video, because today we're focusing on covering how Lexus is being left behind by Toyota. And I'll have to make a dedicated video on TNGA in the future. Hey guys, smash the like button if you haven't so far. That lets me know you want to see more Toyota and Lexus comparisons in the future. All right, let's head over to the tried and true Wikipedia to discuss all the TNGA models currently for Toyota and the Lexus lineups. Now, this doesn't have a ton of information about TNGA itself, but I love how they just throw all the models and their different segments. First part here, these are the only 2 TNGA B products right now. We have the Yaris, the GR Yaris. The GR Yaris is kind of funky because you can see that it combines with the GAC platform, which is right below here. But there's also another model, the Yaris Cross, that just came out, well, I should say just announced for Europe and I believe Australia as well. And that is an incredible vehicle. 3 models right there for Toyota that are on the TNGA platform. TNGA C replaces MC and new MC platforms. All right, Prius Prime, which, okay, there's different variants, so I'm not going to go over all the variants, but you have the CHR and the new Corolla that came out. I love the Corolla. I'm a big fan of the Corolla, especially the new redesign. Amazing vehicle. And then, of course, the vehicle that I would love to have here in America, the Corolla Touring Sports. We don't get that as well. But yeah, the UX is the first Lexus that we see on this page that is built on the TNGA platform. TNGA K, now this thing is going to be huge, guys. It already is. There's already a few models that are not updated on here. First was the Camry, and then the Avalon that came out on here. RAV4 came out. The Lexus ES came out in 2018 as a 2019 model year. Toyota Wildlander, we don't receive that here in America, but it's pretty much a RAV4. You can see how much it looks like it. And then the new Highlander. Also, the new Venza is going to be based off the TNGA K, and then also the new Sienna as well. The current NX shared a lot with the previous RAV4. The next NX will be, of course, on the TNGA. The next RX, since it will probably share a lot with the new Venza/Harrier, will be on the TNGA as well. Now, this is one we don't see here in the States quite yet. TNGA-N, this is what the new IS and GS should be pretty much on, but of course, the GS is dead, and the IS, who knows, what they're going to do with it. It looks like it's just going to be a refresh, but you see Toyota Crown here that came out as a 2018 model year, and then you see the Mirai, which is going to be available later this year, but again, it's a fuel cell car, so it's not a real viable option for anyone right now, unless you live in California or something. TNGA-L has been around for a little bit now, and it was the debut of the TNGA platforms for Lexus when the LS and LC came out together, I should say late 2017, early 2018 time period. eTNGA, they're also working with Suzuki on this. We don't get Suzuki's anymore in America. Daihatsu is a subsidiary of Toyota, and they are co-developing it with Subaru to split costs here. All right, so that's all the models currently on the TNGA platform. What isn't? And there's still a lot, so let's dig into it. And I mentioned before, all of your trucks, that's a good place to start, because globally, you have your Fortuner, your 4Runner, which is stateside as well. The FJ is no longer here, but it is available globally. And of course, the Hilux. Here in the States, that includes, of course, and I'm talking about the trucks still, the aforementioned 4Runner, of course, the Sequoia, the Tacoma, and the Tundra. With fairly recent updates to the Hilux and the Tacoma, we could be waiting a while for these models to be updated to the new TNGA platforms. If we look at a leaked image from the Toyota dealer meeting in March, which has proven to be pretty darn accurate so far, we can see that the Tundra will be out late in 2021 based on the TNGA F platform, and the Sequoia and the 4Runner to follow sometime in 2022. The 8.6 will be updated in the summer of 2021, and it does seem like the platform will be slightly modified from the current one, kind of like the Lexus IS, but we'll talk more about that later. And for the sake of this video, guys, we're not going to touch on the globally marketed van models like the High Ace, the Grand Ace, the Alphard, the LM. Oh, I love the LM. So turning our focus to Lexus, 4 models that are on the TNGA platform. That's the LC, the LS, the ES, and the UX. So now that I named those 4 models that are already updated, what about the ones that aren't in the Lexus lineup, which is most of them? All right, and it's been a long time since they've been updated. The LX, it's currently 12 years old with a 2022 expected redesign. That's going to be a 14-year span. The GX is 10 years old currently and unlikely for a redesign, unfortunately, so it could be dead. I'm not going to speculate on that, though. The RX has 5 years under its belt right now, and then expecting a 2023 redesign, so that will have 8 years under its belt by the time it's redesigned. The NX is 6 years old right now. We're getting a redesign next year, so that'll be 7 years total before the next redesign. The RC has 6 years currently. With a 2023 redesign, that would probably make it 9 years, maybe 10 years, depending on what it's going to do with that Mazda platform, but I can make another video on that in the future as well. The IS is 7 years currently, 2021 refresh, so full redesign, maybe 10 years by the time it's all said and done. The GS, rest in peace, homie. We're going to miss you. 8 years currently, no future redesign, but there's always hope. There's always hope. So I added up all these years between redesigns and I got 80, feels like 86. I got 66 years and I divided that by 7, which gets you on average a new Lexus every 9.5 years. On average in the new car industry, you get a new model that comes out every 6 years with a refresh every 3 years. And that typically is stretched a little bit longer for trucks. Toyota, on the other hand, has revamped its lineup starting in 2015 with the new TNGA based Prius, and it has just continued to flood its model lineup with redesigns ever since. Toyota has beat Lexus to the ground by offering the same, if not better, technology in most of its offerings now. Want a heads-up display? Panoramic sunroof, digital rear view monitor, and a RAV4? No problem. Want the same in a Lexus NX? Sorry, not available here in the States. Oh yeah, NX 300H. No point in updating your powertrain to the RAV4's hybrid either. You'll have to wait until the 2022 redesign, so you're down on power and efficiency compared to the RAV4. Speaking of the RAV4, it will have been around, gosh, 3 years by the time the 2022 NX comes out. Oh, how about you, beloved best-selling RX? We're so happy you finally got CarPlay and Android Auto for the 2020 model year. I am actually very grateful for that, actually. So, but guess what? Your old twin, the Harrier, just got updated and it's coming to America not as an RX, but as a new Venza. Sorry, you'll miss out on the 40 miles per gallon, frosted panoramic sunroof, upgraded heads-up display, and MID, and you still have to wait, RX fans, for another 3 years until the RX gets the TNGA K treatment. Hopefully it's sooner. Oh wait, guys, I have one more jab to add in there. GX, LX, IS, and GS don't have Apple CarPlay. Let's not even mention Android Auto. Leave it to Toyota to equip its ancient forerunner to have both technologies. Lexus can't keep going at this trajectory, guys. All right, here's my Google Sheet that I made today with some of the best-selling Toyota and Lexus vehicles and just matching them up on platform, powertrains, etc. So it kind of just paints a picture. I know I've been doing it already in the video, but it gives us a really good idea how everything's matching up, you know, punch for punch right now. So you have the Camry on the new TNGA K, and it's very, very similar to the ES. Everyone says, you know, the ES is just a dressed-up Camry. And there are a ton of similarities, of course, as you guys see, between these two vehicles, but the ES does take about 5 times longer to make. It is a better built vehicle. It is more comfortable, etc. All right, I don't need to prove my case. Most of you guys already know this. But Power Plant 1, they both have the same engine. Somehow Lexus claims they have 1 more horsepower on that V6. But you can see miles per gallon are roughly the same. Power Plant number 2. Now this is a big head scratcher for me. I don't know why the difference is so big. So Lexus has quite a bit more horsepower here, well 7, which is significant in my opinion. But the miles per gallon couldn't be any further apart. I don't know if it's because the Lexus just has so much more insulation and it's just a heavier vehicle, or maybe it's not quite as aerodynamic for some reason as the Camry. It must not have come down to aerodynamics, because in the city it suffers compared to the Camry as well. And these are all combined numbers here, by the way, anyways. But yeah, the Camry now has all-wheel drive for 2021, and the ES is still front-wheel drive only. I'm not going to go on a tangent about this. I probably get fired up too much about how the ES is only front-wheel drive, and it's just the most mind-blowingly frustrating thing as a fan of the brand. So yeah, anyways, moving on. RAV4 on the new TNGA platform, they're selling hundreds of thousands of these things every freaking year now. It's unbelievable. It is the best-selling Toyota. The NX can be the best-selling Lexus. It's got to step up its game though massively to overtake the RX, but it's still on the old platform that it shared with the old RAV4. I love the motor in the new NX. I do think it needs a new transmission with it. I do like the 6-speed, but it'd be nice to have, you know, an 8-speed or 10-speed option on that. But I'm not talking about too much about transmissions here. You can just see how close this naturally aspirated inline 4 is getting to the turbo. Now, the turbo is going to have heaps more torque. You're not going to have to rev the balls out of this thing like you would with this engine, but it is a phenomenal turbo motor here, and it's just crazy how much power they're able to get out of these naturally aspirated 4 cylinders now. Miles per gallon, about a 5 miles per gallon lead for that RAV4. Although it's down in horsepower, it does make up for that fuel economy. And then you go to the hybrids. On paper, their hybrids are very similar, but the RAV4 is using a new generation of hybrid technology, and you can see it has 25 more horsepower than the Lexus NX, and it's the same displacement engine. And miles per gallon is getting really, really far apart at this point. 33 on the NX, and it can be hard to get that 33. You really have to be driving pretty slow. RAV4, I don't know. I haven't tried the RAV4 hybrid yet, but guys, let me know if you have one. What's your miles per gallon on it? But you can see here, the Prime is coming out soon with 302 horsepower, 40 miles of plug-in range. I might make a video on it. They're saying availability of this is going to be slim to none when it comes out this summer. It's almost like a paper launch for this thing. But still, the fact that it is an option, and then the NX won't get this for another year. And there's also things that the NX doesn't have that the current RAV4 does, like a panel roof. I know you guys in Europe and maybe other places in Japan as well, that you guys have that panel glass roof. We don't have that in America. We don't have a heads-up display either. We don't have a digital rear view mirror, and we finally just got Mark Levinson in the NX, but it's really, really hard to find. You're probably only going to find it in the really rare luxury packages, or maybe some really rare F-Sport packages as well. Moving on to these bad boys here, the Highlander and the Venza. You guys know that they just got redesigned, and the Venza really just came back from the dead. And it doesn't have a V6, but you can see the V6 is the same on the Highlander and the RX. Miles per gallon on the naturally aspirated V6s that they have in here is in the mid-20s. You can see the hybrids, though, this is where it gets pretty interesting. I'll talk a lot more about this after this spreadsheet. You can see 243 horsepower, pretty darn good. I mean, my 2004 Toyota Sienna with its 3.3 liter V6 is down quite a bit on horsepower compared to these two hybrid systems, and my car gets like what 18 miles per gallon on, you know, with the wind pushing me. These things are getting 35 plus up to 40 miles per gallon on the Venza. It's incredible. The RX is still using a V6 hybrid system, and I think they can carry it over into the next generation, but expand upon it a little bit. I'll talk more about it later. Miles per gallon is definitely getting outpaced now by the new guys. Part of that is that you have smaller displacements here. You're going to have a prime Highlander probably a year from now. You're going to have a prime Venza at least a year from now as well. And it has a huge heads-up display in this thing. It's got a next-gen panoramic roof that has a dimmer on it, and then it has standard blind spot monitor, which the RX and most Lexus models can't claim as well. But overall, I mean, the RX is a phenomenal vehicle. You have the Prius. We're going to the TNGA platform, and I have the UX as well. Now, I didn't mention the Prius also has a all-wheel drive version, which is a phenomenal option if you live in the Midwest. There is not an all-wheel drive option, strangely, on the plug-in Prime. It's probably because maybe the battery pack is too large in that vehicle to support that rear-wheel drive electric motor in the back. That's just a theory, but let's dive into it. 121 horsepower compared to the UX is 169 horsepower. Miles per gallon is worlds apart, 52 to 33. I just spoke to someone who owns a UX 200 that gets us 33 miles per gallon. They said they're getting like upper 20s. They're not able to get this 33 miles per gallon. Of course, you know, your mileage will vary. Maybe there might be some people getting better than that, but they're complaining that the vehicle is underpowered in the 200 trim. The hybrid version does have a good amount more power, 181 horsepower compared to the 169, a lot more torque, a lot more readily available power compared to this thing that you got to rev out, which is not very enjoyable with the CVT. But you can see the plug-in Prius Prime here, 121 horsepower. Surprised it's the same horsepower, you know, as the normal Prius. Hey, if you're getting 133 miles per gallon E on that, you know, 25 miles or so plug-in range, and then you get 50 plus miles per gallon after that, it's pretty incredible. I'm a big fan of the Prius Prime, even though I personally haven't tried it yet. I love the UX hybrid here, and 40 miles per gallon is definitely attainable. I've gotten over 50 in town with this bad boy before. What's the Prius's issue? Well, it's losing touch. Its hybridized Toyota lineup is killing a lot of its sales, and it needs an affordable plug-in, probably a lower price plug-in than the current one, and a full battery electric vehicle with its 2022 redesign. And like I said, on the UX, it's underpowered for a luxury car. The hybrid all-wheel drive should be standard, and I think they need to get rid of that front-wheel drive model. Now, what is the future of power plants for Lexus? At least in the coming, I would say, 5 years, they could really adapt to these possibilities here. So these are for the ES, NX, RC, and IS options here. You know, I'm not talking about the truck variants at all, but you see, or even the range topping models or F models. These are for their volume sellers. So you have the 2-liter turbo, if you can increase that horsepower on it, or 2.5-liter turbo if they want to take this 2.5-liter from, the RAV4 up here and turbo it. That's definitely an option, but it needs to have more horsepower than the current one, 250 plus horsepower for, like this base motor for these vehicles. The power plant number 2, let's say the 450h Plus, that has been trademarked for the NX, the NX 450h Plus. It's going to have the same power plant as this bad boy up here, the RAV4 Prime with 302 horsepower, which correlates really well because the current RX hybrid has 308 horsepower, and that's technically called an RX 450h. So the correlation with horsepower here, 308 to the 302 horsepower that will be in the NX 450h Plus makes a lot of sense. So 40 miles of range on that vehicle. It's pretty much going to be a luxury clone of the RAV4 Prime. But yeah, they could definitely institute all these options on these models here. You step up to these models as well. So these are for the RC and IS. These would be options, maybe base engine options over here. And then down here, this would be the premium options for the IS and the RC, and the standard option for the RX, where you have a 3.5 liter turbo. You take either the engine that is in the LS and you strip it down just a little bit with just one fat turbo on it, and it needs to have over 350 horsepower. The hybrid variants of these upper echelon hybrids, 500h Plus could be what it's called, a V6 hybrid plug-in. 45% more power taken from the RAV4's hybrid versus a Prime. It's about 50% more power going from about the 200 horsepower to the 300 horsepower here. And so, I was being a little bit more conservative, maybe about 45% more power over the standard roughly 300 horsepower V6 in the RX gets you 435 horsepower, and let's just say it stays with 40 miles of plug-in range. That would be absolutely incredible to take the brand to the next level. As of now, you're getting an outdated Lexus compared to most of the Toyota models, but do your research. It's not all of them, but the ones I've been talking about recently. Toyota currently has the edge in many powertrains, unless you spring, I don't know, $80,000 plus for the LC, the LS, or the RCF. And since powertrains are fairly equal now and technology has the nod going towards Toyota, how far can comfort, silence, and customer service go to persuade buyers to Lexus over the rapidly improving Toyota? What must Lexus do to not only stay a cut above Toyota, but competitive with the Germans and the growing threat from Korea's Genesis? Going back to Ogawa here, number 1 is cadence, in which Lexus needs to sort this out. Once they have shifted to a TNGA model lineup, they need to keep redesigning every 6 to 7 years, not 9+ years on average. Project itself is a challenge right now too. No big family hauler to compete with the Navigator or Escalade ESV. No flagship two-row crossover to compete with the Cayenne Q8 Audi e-tron, or let's say even the Tesla Model X. The F lineup has been neglected and can't compete with the AMGs and the M's. Lastly, powertrains. Lexus shares most of its powertrains with Toyota, which is a good thing, right? It keeps cost downs, it keeps reliability and refinement super high. The downside is that it struggles to separate itself as a luxury brand at times with redundant powertrains. Now that the Highlander, Venza, and RAV4 all employ next generation hybrid offerings that crush the aged Lexus offerings in efficiency, Lexus needs a big revamp in its power plants, or will continue to be overshadowed not only by the Germans, but by the lower class Toyotas as well. We all know twin turbo V8 is being developed for Lexus models. However, it will only be for models over $90,000. And that's not gonna help their bread and butter, their best selling models. Also, who knows how long it'll be before the turbo V8 hits the market? 2022? 2023? I don't know. We know that the NX 450h Plus, or whatever they decide to call the thing, is going to be a port over from the RAV4 Prime setup. A great option, but again, not going to distance itself away from Toyota. The turbo inline 4, the 8AR FTS, is a great engine that doesn't see any Toyota products here in America. And it is a shame that the UX doesn't get this engine as its base option like its bigger brother, the NX. I've witnessed several buyers of the UX complain about the anemic power on the front wheel drive UX 200. And I've even seen many trade out of the UX 200 as soon as they felt the difference on a 250h that they got as a loaner. Lexus needs to get rid of the UX 200 here in America, in my opinion, and keep the UX full hybrid like the CT and the HS once were. A 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder with a CVT has no place in a luxury car. The RX still has a competitive edge over the VINs and the Highlander in the power department because of its hybrid V6, but the efficiency of Toyota's options are astounding. Lexus can't afford to use the NX 450h Plus or the RAV4 Prime's power plant in the RX. They need something more dominant. Keep the V6 and add a plug-in for hybrid capacity and full electric range. I mean, that's a lot of weight in a vehicle, but I'm sure it's a good way to go. They almost need to introduce a turbo 6-cylinder to give the RX power in between the current 295 and the LS's LS 500's 416 horsepower from the twin turbo V6. The RX would benefit mightily from receiving a 350 horsepower and gobs of force induced torque. Add a plug-in to the already great hybrid V6 option, and that should get you close to the 350 horsepower as well. Oh yeah, 40 miles of range isn't too bad either. And this could be the talk of the automotive world for some time. Lastly, what about the IS, the new remodel? Although not based on the TNGA, instead a revision of the current platform, it is slated possible to get a return of the 5-liter V8. Price the IS 500 in the low 60s and we could have ourselves a competitive German fighter without the lofty F price tag. I'm definitely refraining from going and digging into the truck-based Toyota and Lexus variants as we don't know enough about their upcoming power plants, release dates, and of course all their features. I also didn't touch on the Avalon, the Corolla, the CHR, Sienna, 8.6, a whole lot, Mirai and Supra, oh yeah, and the Yaris too. As they don't compete with any Lexus models directly, or they aren't very competitive here stateside. I mean, I already talked about the Camry and the Avalon. They're just so similar. I don't know why both of them exist here. All I can say at this point is that Lexus needs to start playing to win and to stop playing not to lose. They are capable of making the world's best cars and have proved it so many times in its near 30-year history. I can tell you as a fan of Toyota that I'm so excited to see where the brand is heading in the coming years. Unfortunately for Lexus, the near future is a little gray, a little uncertain. They need new product, they need it yesterday, and they need new power plants to set them apart from the increasingly threatening and increasingly better Toyota lineup. In 5 years, I can see Lexus having at least 3 full battery electric vehicles, as well as 10 plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. Lexus needs to hold on as best as possible in this year of 2020 with only the LC convertible making a small splash. They have nothing else new coming out this year. It's looking like the IS is going to be pushed out to early 2021. And the car that will generate a ton of buzz for the brand will be the 2022 redesigned NX. I can't wait to see where Toyota and Lexus will be in the coming years, guys. And I can't wait to share it with you, the luxurious fleet, along the way. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the comments. This is gonna get pretty fiery down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, peace out.